Today, we are taking on a podcast format as I'm joined by the lead developer for accessible.org, Khushwant. Khushwant is not only our lead developer, but he single-handedly built Accessibility Tracker, which is a project management platform unlike anything else in the marketplace. Khushwant, first, thank you for joining me. And can you tell everyone more about you and your experience in development and accessibility?
Thank you, Chris, for the nice introduction. So, regarding myself, I have been working in accessibility for last 3 years. I have been into the fintech industry where I test applications regarding accessibility and give remediation instruction to developer. So I have been with Chris from like last 1 year. So I've been developing his WordPress websites and all, making the website accessible and remediating different websites. Regarding the accessibility tracker platform, so initially when Chris suggested me these ideas, it was like it does sound like a good idea. So we started working on it, and it we started working on it because I myself, when I do audit in my company, we log all the issues in the Excel file, and it is hard to keep managing the track of the issues, like the status of the issue, and like who logged it, who validated it. It's hard to keep track of all those issues. So this seems like a genuine problem. Although there are few enterprise tools, but they don't offer much free tier, so we don't have any idea how those works. So like Chris himself wanted it to be something that is totally accessible for normal users also and the small teams. So we have built this platform with the full purpose of that in mind.
Yeah, so one of the notes I have is that I didn't have an idea of, I knew about what was in the market based on my experience, but there was no research on my part. But when I approached you about this, I remember it started out, hey, Kushwan, how can we make it easy to prioritize accessibility issues? Because that wasn't in the market. And you went and like you started building on that idea. You came back to me and I was like, what happened here? You had taken that idea and like built like a really a full scale platform for managing accessibility issues. And like you said, this, I mean, right? Like you hadn't come across it. I hadn't come across it. Like there was nothing specifically for digital accessibility.
There's nothing such as like the text because most of the product that are available in the market are only for enterprise. Like if you talk about level access, like these are the products that are for enterprise. For normal user, for small companies, there is nothing in the market. And even if there is there is no live demo, there is nothing like they can get easily access to. They have to go through multiple processes just to get access of it. Some Yeah. So my initial thought was when you gave me the idea. So initially I thought we were only prioritizing the issue. So initially the idea was they will upload an Excel sheet and we will prioritize based on that. But what I thought was like if they can prioritize, they should also be able to assign issues and they should also be able to log all those issues, add notes to it. So the main idea comes from the different platform that we use. Obviously, issue tracking is not new in the market. Issue tracking has been going for long, long years. But accessibility is something that is recently becoming a trend in the market. So there is no specialized platform in this sector. Otherwise, there is multiple platform where we can track issues, we can assign those issues, but those are specifically with if there's any single bug. But in Exploit, what happens is we have a bunch of bugs, and normally the audit norm is we normally do audit in Excel sheet only. Even if you ask anyone, everyone do a audit in the Excel sheet. So there's no specialized platform. So that was where the idea came from. Like audit will be done in the Excel sheet. That we won't change. We won't change the norm here. We will just like reform the process next to it, like how the Excel file is going to be processed next. So we are reforming that particular process. We are not changing the flow how the auditors work. They will audit in the Excel sheet. So we are keeping that simple for them. Like we can't make them use the platform that you have to log the issue also in this platform. So that will be tough for them. That will require more time. So yeah. So that was the initial thought process.
So we've been working from an Excel spreadsheet and it works, right? Like it's something where if you're just working on this one time, like you might think, okay, a few issues, an Excel spreadsheet works, but the problem is the more issues you work through, the more rounds of validation, like it quickly creates not only friction, but inefficiency. And it's easy for the tracking to get lost. Like it just happens as like a natural consequence of going back and forth with Excel. You have to mark everything. And I think initially I thought, well, Excel can handle everything, but I just as we've had so many projects working through this over and over again, listening to clients, it was something I approached you about just one prioritizing, but then you went further with it, and then now we've been building it into something that's even beyond what was, originally there. It's like we keep adding in features and it's becoming like I keep telling people this. I'm like, this is already the best there is, and it's only going to get better from here because we're building in our experience. And that's how, that's what happens with a lot of our projects. When I approach you with a project, it's either because I noticed something that's missing, clients are asking me about something multiple times, and or it's just something I think would be a really good idea and it will, there's value in there, even if people aren't necessarily looking for it right now. But with the accessibility tracker, well, I'll just back to my questions here for you. What is the one aspect of building it that was the most difficult, or what was the feature that took you the most time?
So the feature that took me most of time is obviously the internal handling of assigning and different team members. So what happens is user can normally sign up, but assigning a team member requires multiple flow. Like we have to set up different role access. Like we have three different roles in accessibility tracker. One is project owner, one is project manager, and one is project member. So assigning this different level of access was mostly the complex part because right now what we have is project owner that have access of all the project. Then there comes the project manager. He can access all the project, but he cannot delete the project. He cannot create the project, but he can access each and everything related to the project. He can delete issues, but he cannot delete projects. Then comes the project member. He will be only able to work on the issue that he is assigned to. Like he can reassign that issue to someone else. He can like use AI in that issue, but he cannot work on any other issue that is not assigned to. So these are the most important part, I guess, of the site and also the most critical parts because there is a different access level for each of the platforms. So I have to add access level to each API call and each database interaction. So this is the main feature of the accessibility tracker, I think, and this is also the most important. We also have the AI feature that was like little, but we have upgraded it to like earlier we used to wait for 15 to 20 seconds just to get the AI response. But right now we recently released update where you get it in an instant. You don't have to wait anymore. So these are the few things that took most of the time, but yeah, these are worth it. Like the time is spent on it, I believe it is worth it now.
Yeah, the team member assignment is, I think, somewhat deceptively for projects, and as you're working on more projects and you have more team members, you quickly realize its value because this isn't something that you can do in Excel spreadsheet, right? Excel
Yeah.
spreadsheets, they are dynamic, but at the same time, there are features that are flat. And this is one of those times where it's like we are thinking of everything that can go into a project and making it as seamless as possible. And this is something that's been done with the team member assignment because now what you recently just added is not only the ability to assign to team members, a team member can now assign to another team.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean these are the type of details that can slow down a project, but when everything is there for you and it's just flowing seamlessly, I mean, it's just so much time, and especially like let's say you have multiple digital assets, and it's like you start stacking the number of issues. Let's say even if you just had one digital asset and there are 150 issues, it makes it so much easier when all of this is like just thought of there for you.
But
So that, oh, go ahead.
like one more major differentiation from Excel is like the visualization. Like you cannot look at Excel for a long time. It's boring. Like it's not interactive, it's not like easy to look at. Like even if like if there's a accessibility project ongoing, like if there's a stakeholder or someone that doesn't have the accessibility knowledge, like you can't show them the Excel, but you can show them our dashboard, the accessibility tracker dashboard, so that will be easy for them to understand.
Yeah, and that gets into the project analytics and the overview, and it's like where you don't have to let's say email an Excel spreadsheet or even share a Google sheet and say, look at this spreadsheet. here are all of the rows where we've got a check mark, and that's how many have been completed. Now you've got these nice data visualizations where you know, okay, here are all of our projects in play, here are all of the issues, here's the status of each issue, and we're building in more reporting and more analytics. But that's really helpful when you're working on projects so that someone can easily know, hey, here's how close it was. And one other thing I forgot to mention when you were talking earlier, this is diff I really don't know if even the essence of accessibility tracker is even available behind these the sales demos by the other different platforms, because ours is not scan based, and that is a characteristic that is inherent with maybe not all, but many of the platforms, is they're all based on a scan, which I've told people for so long. Scans are extremely skewed. They're limited. So if you're working towards 100% on a scan, you're not working towards full conformance.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree with it. Like scan only covers 30 to 40% at max.
Yeah. So it's like if you, and that's what I've even seen someone, it was on a county webinar. This was for ADA compliance, and I think this was Title II. And he was telling people, like, that we're really trying to get this scan score of 100%. And he was so focused on that 100%. And the whole time I'm thinking, it's like, well, scans are so limited. And I mean, the one thing that I don't think is talked about too much, but I'm always focused in on is the false negatives, where a scan could potentially flag an issue but does not. And then you're just completely unaware of that. And so many times in this industry, we see people focused on scans. And with accessibility tracker, we like that's not even a consideration, because you directly upload your audit report. So that way you know that you're working towards full conformance. Let's see here. So I wanted to introduce you, and I wanted to introduce Accessibility Tracker because it's something where this is definitely a shift and something in the marketplace. And like you said, even if one of those gated platforms does offer some of the functionality, I highly doubt they would offer most of the features. But even if they did, you can't just go buy the application, right? You can't buy
Exactly.
access. You have to go through a demo, and they're not going to, you're not just going to buy a subscription. You're going to buy a subscription, a much larger subscription for whatever else comes with that. So this is really important, and I think having you on helps people understand, like, no, this is really making a difference. Like, even as a developer, like, you talked earlier about what you thought of it, and I remember earlier on, we started using it for just us, like it wasn't
Yeah.
about the client, right? It was about, you were like, hey, I want to use it. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, go for it, because it really it adds that much value. It makes it so much easier to track issues.
I was the first one to create a project on accessibility tracker and remediate the site. It was the Shopify website, if I remember.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had a remediation project, and I mean, I mean, obviously you'd think we'd use it, but like, it really does have that much value. It's like, why? Like, we want to use it. We use it now on all of our projects just because it creates so much efficiency. And I try to tell clients this. I think clients sometimes try to think I'm trying to upsell them on accessibility tracker when I'm actually trying to downsize them from technical support hours, because with technical support hours, we charge $195 an hour. And if I can get them down from, let's say, 10 to 4, then that not only saves us time on their end or on our end, it saves them time and money on their end. So it brings the project cost down, and it makes it more efficient. And that's what we're trying to do, is make things more efficient. Like, I'm not trying to sell additional things that I don't think add that incremental value. So with Accessibility Tracker, what we've built out is just, I think when the marketplace realizes this, it's going to change things. Like, the more developers that use it, the more they're going to be like, we should be using it. Which leads, oh, did you want to add anything?
No, I just want to say, like, should we talk about the new features that we are adding in accessibility tracker?
Yeah, let's talk about them.
So, like, the one feature that we have thought about, like, is the consultation, I think. So, the consultation will be like complete overview. It will be AI chatbot that will have context of your each and every project and each and every issue. So in the consultant, you can just ask like how many issues are pending, and you will get how many issues are pending from all your project. You can ask him like on this issue, who is working on this issue, and it will give you the result. You can bring like how many issues are not started, how many issues are completed, and you can just ask anything regarding the project, and it will give you answer in an instant. So that is something I believe will be used most. And the next feature we are adding is the reports feature. So user can add the custom timeline. Like even if they want 1 week report, they can add that timeline and they can simply download the report and send them to their own email. So that will be the next feature. And also the second feature will be they will be able to compare two different reports with two different timelines. Even if that is a single report, let's suppose you have a single project, you can compare that single project with two different timelines. So you can actually check in which month you fixed more issues, in which month you fixed less issues, like all those. And even if you can compare two different projects with two different timelines, so you can check like earlier in the accessibility audit part one, we got this many issues, and then we get when we audited it again, we got this many issues. So you will be able to actually track all those things in our platform itself.
And so reporting and documentation are very, very important to clients. And I also know even if the client isn't they're not focused on documentation for compliance reasons, for other legal reasons. Having the documentation is so important. And that's another part of accessibility tracker, as you mentioned, that we're building. And there was one other thing that you touched on. Oh, the AI. Like, I mean, just think about it, especially as like someone who's either a project manager or you're just someone who wants to see how the project's going. Maybe you're not the actual project manager, but like you said, like maybe it's chief technology officer, I don't know. But they can go in and ask AI, like, where are we at here? What issues are slowing us down? You know, all of these things, like what issues remain. That's something, again, when I say this is unique, this is something you don't find anywhere else. So even if there is some software or a platform that has many of the characteristics, like we're taking this way beyond what's conventional and what's legacy. It's all like everything is here is driven by efficiency. And yeah, this was an idea that you had that I thought was like I was like yes, like because right now we have AI for the individual issues, which is
Yes,
very helpful with remediation, right? A lot faster, right? Because one thing I love about that is it's educational. If a developer is new to accessibility, they can still start to put things together because of the AI. And the AI is not just it's not just generic AI, it's AI pre-prompted that has all of the data from the individual issue. So the tools
exactly.
are extremely helpful.
Yeah, like developer don't need to do anything. He just have to click there and analyze, and he will get the response.
Yeah, and now everyone can go into the project AI or the not even the project AI, but it's like the what would you call it? It's not the project AI.
Consultant,
Yeah, the consultant AI.
consultant.
And they can go in there and they can ask any question across any project or for all of the projects. They can parse through or ask questions about the analytics. So again, this is something that is not found, and this is why when I look at accessible.org and what we're doing, and by the way, it's not stopping at accessibility tracker. This is something that we've built out. This is something that we're growing, but we're not stopping here. But this is why we are leading the way in technology. Like when you look at the marketplace, when you look at the legacy offerings, no one is even coming close to what we're doing. And Khushwant, you are behind everything. So it's we came across each other. I think we've worked together for a year. And
Yeah, I was like looking for freelance jobs and I was cold emailing like I accidentally mispronounced your company name or your name, I guess, in the email. Then you went back to me that I'm not this, like my name is not this or something like that. And from there we started talking, I remember.
yeah, I think your email had yeah, I think you had so many emails sent out you didn't change the template for me.
Yeah, exactly. I was looking for the freelance projects at that time. So I was like, I went through there is a accessibility roundup companies list on the digital A1Y site, I guess. So I went there, I looked for all the companies and I made it like top 20 to 30 companies, all of them.
You know what? You know what's I was as I got to know you more. I mean, because every contractor is different. Like I have to, like even when I work with them initially and it goes well, it has to continue going well. And as I got to work with you more, I was like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, how is this guy looking for freelance work? Like you are so talented. You are like the technology that you're able to build, like the when this is another thing that separates you. When I ask you for a potential project, you usually know what I'm thinking and can even start to think of things that complement what I'm thinking. Accessibility tracker being a prime example where you went beyond what I even asked for originally and started building this out. And so, like, I think this is just like a general takeaway for anybody watching this. Like, there are really, really talented people out there. And that's why I'm always telling people, like, hey, send me a resume, contact me. It's not that I can like start contracting with everyone, but like, this is something I'm always receptive to people who are looking for contract work because I don't think it's just like people don't recognize a lot of the value that's out there. And like you have, you single-handedly, like an infusion of talent, infusion of knowledge, and just development experience and expertise. By the way, what year did you start coding?
I started coding in like 2017 or 18, I guess.
How old were you at that time?
I was around like 18 to 19, I guess.
Oh, you picked it up. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
like
impressive.
because mainly like we start college around that year. So from the college itself, I'm coding and like from the year 1 year before that. So I'm coding from if I have to merge of years, so I have been coding around for like 7 to 8 years.
Well, I mean, you're already, I mean, the what you've been able to do with that foundation, like accessibility trackers, like, everything is so seamless. Like we're already able to just build and continue adding in features. So, uh, one, thank you for coming on thank you for coming on the podcast or this episode, but we're not done. We're going to continue with a part two. And so we're going to, in part two, for everyone that's watching this video, we're now going to address Jira because Jira is another project management platform that many organizations use for accessibility. And we're just going to talk about Jira's strengths, where it's different from Accessibility Tracker. And so we will pick up with that in the next video, which I will link to below in the description.